The rain came down in a steady rhythm, pattering against the school's wide windows and pooling in the cracks of the asphalt outside. The gray sky mirrored the weight in Michael Easton's chest as he leaned against his locker, staring blankly at the rows of students bustling through the hall. Their voices melded into a dull hum, meaningless and distant. Tyler's words from the cafeteria still echoed in his mind. "They're scared of what you're becoming." The thought gnawed at him, cutting deeper than he wanted to admit. He had clawed his way to the top, silencing the bullies and earning the respect he thought he wanted. But now, standing there with his fists clenched at his sides, Michael realized respect was the wrong word. Fear. That's what it was. Fear had a weight to it that respect never did, and it was a weight he was starting to buckle under. Michael pushed himself off the locker and made his way to the cafeteria, his steps purposeful but unsteady. He scanned the room as he entered, his eyes finding Chase and Lucas sitting at their usual table. The sight of them, heads bowed in conversation, their laughter muted, made something twist in his stomach. He wasn't sure when it had started, but the distance between them was palpable now, a chasm widening by the day. As Michael approached, the conversation at the table stopped abruptly. Chase glanced up, his expression flickering with something Michael couldn't quite place. Hesitation? Maybe even guilt. Lucas avoided his gaze entirely, staring intently at the remnants of his lunch. "Hey," Michael said, sliding into the seat across from them. "Hey," Chase replied after a beat, his tone lacking its usual warmth. Michael leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. "What's going on?" Chase hesitated, his eyes darting toward Lucas before returning to Michael. "Nothing, just talking." Michael's jaw tightened. "About what?" Lucas finally looked up, his expression guarded. "Tyler." The name hung between them like a knife. Michael's chest tightened, but he forced himself to stay calm. "What about him?" Chase shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. "He's making moves. People are starting to listen to him, more than they're listening to you." Michael's stomach churned. "You're listening to him?" Chase shook his head quickly, but the hesitation was telling. "It's not like that, Mike. It's just, he's different. He doesn't push people the way Johnny did. The way—" He stopped himself, but the unfinished sentence lingered. Michael leaned back, his fists clenching under the table. "The way I do?" "Bridget." Chase didn't respond, and the silence that followed was louder than any answer he could have given. Later that day, Michael stood outside in the school parking lot, the rain now a light drizzle. He leaned against the hood of his car, staring out at the wet pavement. He didn't hear Liam approach until he was standing beside him, hands stuffed into the pockets of his jacket. "You're not looking too good, Easton," Liam said, his tone light but edged with something sharper. Michael didn't look at him. "What do you want, Liam?" Liam shrugged. "Thought you might want to talk. Things are shifting, you know? People are starting to wonder if you've still got it." Michael turned to face him, his eyes narrowing. "Still got it? What?" "Control," Liam said simply. "You've been distracted. Tyler's been capitalizing on that. And now, people are starting to think maybe he's the better option." Michael's chest burned with anger, but he forced it down. "He's not better than me." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Maybe not, but he's not scaring people off either. That's the difference." The words hit harder than Michael wanted to admit. He looked away, his gaze falling on the rain-slicked pavement. "You used to be different," Liam continued, his voice quieter now. You stood up to Johnny because you wanted to be better, because you wanted things to change. But now, you're just, I don't know. You're starting to feel like a repeat of him. Michael's head snapped up, his eyes blazing. I'm not Johnny. Liam held up his hands, a gesture of mock surrender. Hey, I'm just telling you what people are saying. Whether it's true or not, that's up to you to figure out. Michael's fists clenched, but he said nothing. After a moment, Liam sighed and stepped back. Look, he said, his tone softening. I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm just saying, if you want to fix this, you've got to figure out who you want to be before Tyler makes that choice for you. With that, Liam turned and walked away, leaving Michael alone with the rain and his thoughts. That night, Michael sat at his desk, staring at his reflection in the darkened window. His room was silent, the only sound the faint patter of rain against the glass. The notebook lay open in front of him, its pages filled with plans and strategies that now felt meaningless. Liam's words echoed in his mind. You're starting to feel like a repeat of him. Michael hated how much truth there was in that. He'd spent so long trying to be someone different, someone better, but now he wasn't sure who he was anymore. He thought about Chase and Lucas, about the way they had looked at him today. Like he was a stranger, like they didn't know if they could trust him. He thought about Tyler, the way he moved through the school with effortless ease, gathering people to his side without lifting a finger. And he thought about Liam, about the warning in his voice and the truth in his eyes. Michael closed the notebook, pushing it aside. He didn't need strategies or plans. He needed answers. He needed to figure out who he was and what he wanted before it was too late. But as he sat there in the dark, the rain falling softly outside, one thought gnawed at the edges of his mind. Maybe it already is.